I'm gonna keep it real. I kind of wanted to make this video because I feel like Bleach is very, very underrated when it comes to the big three. I think this is well-known information, and I feel like a lot of people already talk about it. That Bleach is is the underdog of the big three, if you will. You know, there's One Piece, Naruto. Everyone talks about Naruto because it has such an impact on everyone in their childhood. Probably the top anime in at least North America for a long time. You know what I mean? In terms of just children, Cartoon Network, all that stuff. And then with One Piece, I mean, everyone either watched One Piece in their childhood and then has been watching it ever since, or everyone just hopped on the One Piece wave, which is kind of like myself. Like back in 2014, 2015, I started hopping on the One Piece wave, and I realized that I personally like it better than Naruto. A lot of people also feel the same way if they're caught up, you know? So I feel like that's where Naruto and One Piece kind of stand in terms of the big three. And then with Bleach, everyone has everyone kind of knows about Bleach, but no one really talks about Bleach. Bleach is getting a lot more Bleach has been getting talked about a lot more recently due to the fact that it's coming back, but I feel like I'm not going to compare it to One Piece, right? Because again, this is not really a versus battle in terms of like, oh, this one's the definite winner. I'm just gonna give my opinion on them because I feel like Bleach and Naruto are compared a lot. Same with a couple of my last versus videos. You know, I feel like those anime are compared a lot, so I kind of want to give my opinion on what I personally feel is better and where one anime may shine better than the other, but it just may not be looked at like that a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna hop into it. I'm gonna be talking about first. I'm gonna talk about the characters. Okay, now I feel like when it comes to Naruto, I feel like Naruto has a lot of recognizable and rememberable characters, if that makes sense, if that's even a word. But I feel like Bleach, other than the main crew, right? Because I know Ichigo does a lot of the work. Damn, you know, the, the side characters in Bleach damn near don't do anything in terms of Orihime, Chad, Rukia, you know, other than the Espada arc, like, don't do a lot in terms of the main cast, right? With the main cast of Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi, everyone does their fair share of work, right? But I think Bleach has more likable characters. Now, I'm not saying that Naruto doesn't have likable characters. There's many. There's Shikamaru, Tamari, Rock Lee, Neji, Hinata. You know, there's many likable characters, but there are also ones that I really like, don't like. Not for any specific reason. I just don't really like their character. Like Yamato, he's a cool character. I'm just not really that big of a fan of him. You know what I'm saying? Ten, she's cool, not really that big of a fan of her. It's not necessarily that I don't like these characters, I just don't like them the same way I like some of these Bleach characters. Like, other than the fact that they don't do anything a lot of the time, I like the whole main cast of the Bleach characters and all of the captains. All of them are so cool. I can't even remember the names because I watched Bleach in 2014. You know what I'm saying? So I can't really remember a lot of the names like that, but a lot of the captains I like. Aizen, great villain. Aizen and Madara are sort of on the same level, I think, when it comes to being a good villain. I mean, all of the captains, the Espada, Ukiura, Grimjow, Harry Bell, Nell, Kenpachi. He's not an Espada, but he's a top tier captain. You know, there's a lot more likable characters for me. I don't really not like any characters in Bleach other than like the pink haired Espada, and then like I think Espada number 0, and then one of like and then two of like the lower tier Espadas. But other than that, I really like all of the characters in Bleach. I think all of the characters are very unique, and then when it's their time to shine, it's very like they get their shine and they're focused on. Even though the main cast doesn't do a lot, like Chad has had some of his moments to shine. Uryu, he does a lot. He does a lot more than like Chad and Orihime. But even so, they had the whole save Orihime arc, and then Rukia, she had her little arc. You know what I'm saying? There's focus to them. It's just like a lot of the time Ichigo is going to be the one finishing the job and actually like doing the damage. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like when it comes to Naruto, they only focus like after once they get into Shippuden, it's Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Kakashi, and then obviously you'll get your like your Neji moment, his death, and then he not. But it's only them. Like they only focus on them, and I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem when it comes to Naruto. Like Shikamaru has a shine when it comes to like the Akatsuki thing, and then like characters have their shine, but they don't really get a lot of focus like that, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I really don't think they get it like a lot of the characters do in Bleach. I feel like it's more equally distributed in Bleach than it is in Naruto after a certain point in Naruto once they get in Shippuden. So I think I like Bleach's characters a little bit more because they just have more to offer in terms of personality and just like being different than another character. and I just really like that. And I think Bleach slightly shines on the low, like very, very quietly shines over Naruto when it comes to their character and their roster. I personally, I love the roster, very diverse. You know what I'm saying? Now heading into the MC, the main characters themselves. I mean, comparing Naruto and Ichigo. See, overall, I think Ichigo is just a cooler MC. But I mean, in terms of development, he doesn't really have as much development as Naruto if you really think about it, because obviously the show didn't finish. You know what I mean? I just feel like we see Naruto literally grow up from a kid and then to a teenager to an adult. You see all of his development. You see how he matures. You see how he grows stronger physically and mentally, and how he handles his problems differently than he used to. With Ichigo, he starts off as a teenager and then he ends the story roughly about the same age, maybe about I don't remember if they did any like mini time skips or anything, but he's roughly about the same. He just grew stronger physically and then probably just learned how to handle his problems a little bit better. But I mean, I just feel like with Naruto there's a lot more depth to him. I think Ichigo is cooler. Like I think he's just a cooler person in general, but I feel like Naruto overall just has more depth and more character development to him. So I'm definitely going to have to give the MC overall to Naruto. In Bleach, Ichigo fights all of his battles. Typical shonen stuff. If he's losing, he gets the bullshit. Naruto, if he's losing, he gets the bullshit power up. And then that just happens. Naruto hits him with the talk. You know, maybe Ichigo. Ichigo doesn't do the same thing really, from what I can recall. But Naruto definitely hits him with that talk no jutsu. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, there's that. But overall development, I think I'm gonna have to give it to Naruto. Now, if we're looking at the show's villains, I just feel like villains are a very important part of a show, the antagonist. And if we're looking at both shows, Bleach, they have the Espada, and then I'm not going to count the Soul Society people because obviously they're all Ichigo's allies, They were enemies at the time to him. And like I don't really want to count them like that because they were good people and they were the good guys in general, but I mean they just captured Rukia, so it's like he kind of had to oppose them. But it's not like, I mean, if we want to count them as villains, no, I can't. I can't count them as villains. I can't. They were literally just obstacles at the time for Ichigo, but they're not villains because there were some of them that didn't even want to fight dude. You know what I'm saying? And they were kind of messing around with him and just testing his strength. So I mean, they were just obstacles for Ichigo. So if we're looking at the villain roster for Bleach, they had the Espada, and I don't remember if there were any Fullbringers that were like enemies. I think there was, or something like that. But other than that, they just had the Espada, not counting filler, which I'm not gonna do. They just have the Espada, and like the Espada is a diverse group of individuals, but you could say the same thing about the Akatsuki. And with the Akatsuki and Naruto, it's not like they only have the Akatsuki. They have Orochimaru, Kabuto, Madara, Kaguya, the Sound Five, the Sound Ninja from the Chunin exams. Um, they have the reanimated people, Kinkaku, Genkaku, the Tsuchikage, Kazekage. Like, they had many more villains to fight. Now, granted, the reanimated people were under the control of Kabuto. I completely didn't even say Obito. Obito's main villain as well. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like Naruto, like, they have their group, and then they have a lot of other individual villains. With Bleach, they have their group, and then they don't have individual villains. From what I can recall, I'm trying to think. Maybe they do, and I'm just like, I literally can't think of it. But I don't think Bleach has as many villains as Naruto, and I just feel like the diversity in Naruto is a lot more deep in terms of its villain roster than Bleach, because Bleach is also not finished. I see Thousand Year Blood War arc, and I already see tons of new people that I haven't even seen. I haven't even read the shit. So I mean, obviously, once that gets animated, we'll be talking a different story here. But as of right now, because we're talking about the anime, not talking about the story as a whole manga, because I don't read the manga for Bleach. I would rather just watch it. The anime itself, Naruto has just the better villain roster because the show is complete. Now, if we're looking at Aizen versus Madara, I think Aizen is a slightly better villain than Madara. You know, I feel like in terms of the main villain of both those shows, Bleach's main villain is slightly better than Naruto's main villain, only because he was there the whole time. He was wrecking havoc the whole time. He hit you with a complete plot twist that you didn't even see coming. Like Madara, it was kind of like not predictable, but it's like, okay, when he showed up, it's like, okay, that's Madara. Like that was gonna happen in some way, shape, or form. You knew he was gonna be powerful. You knew this and that. Like you knew he was gonna go absolutely insane, right? With Aizen at the beginning of the show, he didn't seem suspicious to me at all. He seemed like a genuinely nice guy. So it's like he tricked me completely, I'll tell you that much. So I mean, in terms of the main villain, I'm definitely gonna take Bleach on that. But in terms of the full villain roster, I'm gonna have to take Naruto. But in terms of story, I mean, Bleach doesn't have as deep of a story as Naruto. And I think that's clearly blatant in terms of the anime right now, because it got cut short. And then there was also a lot of filler. I'm not saying Naruto doesn't have a lot of filler, but Naruto was able to complete itself, and then also going into Boruto. But Naruto was able to finish. Bleach, when you finish the anime, it's like, this is not finished. You know what I'm saying? So they have the new Thousand Year Blood War arc coming out. I heard it's really good. And that arc in itself is really going to sway me one way or another. I wanted to make this video beforehand because I don't have a date and time when this arc is coming out. It was supposed to come out in March of 2021. Obviously, COVID happened and then we're stuck here. So I don't really know when that's coming out. I will reflect back on this video if it changes my opinion. That's the thing, because I'm sitting here and like I'm like contemplating which I think is better, but I feel like if that arc is good, that's how close like my decision making is right now. That's the thing. Like I feel like if that arc is genuinely the best arc in the show, that some people are saying it may be, it may push Bleach over Naruto for me. Now, I'm not saying that Naruto is necessarily over Bleach right now. Like I'm trying to just decide and like kind of break it down, but I feel like if that arc is really good and it could sum up the story well, it may definitely. And then they just had the that one shot release. I completely forgot about that. So if that actually becomes an arc and then animated in the future, we're gonna be having some problems and different discussions here, because Bleach is gonna be making an extreme comeback. So I mean, I don't know what's gonna be happening with that. But in terms of the story, Naruto is gonna take the story for me right now, just because it's complete and I feel more fulfilled with the Naruto story than I do with the Bleach story, because I feel like Bleach has more to offer. I feel like Naruto did what it was supposed to do, became Hokage, married Hinata, got Sasuke back, you know, everything was complete. And then obviously he had his kid, and then now his kid's having his own story. But I mean, in terms of the Naruto story, it was complete to me. So I feel like Naruto does have a better story. Now, in terms of the anime and in terms of animation, honestly, I think Bleach never really had that time to like get that new school animation, like that really good crisp animation, like Madara versus the Alliance type animation. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like Naruto's animation is better, but I feel like the Bleach art and aesthetic is better. I like the Bleach art and the character design and just like the aesthetic of the show a lot more than I do Naruto. And that's because it's a lot more subtle and chill. It's very like laid back and grimy. Like if that even makes sense, it's just a very cool art style. You know, it's not your typical. I'm not saying Bleach is new gen by any means, but you know, you're not going to see animation art style like that in today's anime. You know, it was very dark. Like the atmosphere was more dark and more grainy. And obviously that's just going to come with an older show, but like Naruto was always fairly like light and exuberant. Is that a good word that I'm looking for? I don't know, like light and just like not loud, but fairly intense on my screen. You know what I'm saying? Bleach is very, as I said, just dark and just not grim, but just a lot darker, and not necessarily like scary way, but just a lot more darker in terms of just like the drawing and the colors that they use. A lot different, vibrant. Naruto's a lot more vibrant than Bleach, I feel like. That's the word I'm looking for. So yeah, but I feel like Naruto, obviously in terms of animation, is better, but I feel like the aesthetic and character design is gonna have to go to Bleach for me. So I'm gonna talk about the fights really quick. Now, in terms of the fights, see, this one's really hard. This one's really hard because some notable Bleach fights: Ichigo versus Ukiura, Ichigo versus Grimmjow, Kenpachi versus the Fifth Espada, Ichigo versus Byakuya, Aizen versus Ichigo. A lot of these are Ichigo, but Ichigo versus Aizen, Rukia versus the lower tiered Espada, Kenpachi versus Ichigo. See, that's the problem. I'm thinking about it now. A lot of the fights in Bleach revolve around Ichigo. As I said earlier, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the best Bleach fights revolve around Ichigo. While in Naruto, while there are a lot of good fights with Naruto in them, a lot of these good fights in Naruto don't even involve him. Kenpachi, Kakashi versus Obito, Minato versus Obito, Might Guy versus Madara, Chunin exams, Rock Lee versus Gaara, Naruto versus Neji is a good fight, Sasuke versus Gaara was a good little fight, Sasuke versus Itachi, Kisame versus Killer Bee, or was it Might Guy? I don't remember. Sasuke versus, I think both of them. I think Kisame fought Killer Bee and Might Guy. Sasuke versus Killer Bee. Like, there are so many fights in Naruto that don't even involve Naruto himself, which make them super good. Like, in terms of the fights, I feel like there's a lot more diverse fights in Naruto right now. Now, I'm not saying that Bleach doesn't have those diverse fights. Like, there's Ishida Uryu versus, he was versing one of the captains, I think, if I recall, and then one of the captains was versing one of the Espada. But a lot of the best Bleach fights involve Ichigo. That's the thing, and I think that's where Naruto is definitely going to shine over Bleach, because there's a lot more diversity in terms of the best fights not involving the main character. So I feel like that's a clear sort of difference when it comes to Bleach and Naruto. Now, if we're talking about the music, right? I think that's what I'm going to talk about lastly. I think I'm going to lastly talk about the music. Both shows goated in terms of its music, right? I feel like Naruto has a lot more notable and well-known tracks, and I feel like it just has a bigger playlist in general. But I feel like Bleach has some better intros and outros that I just like more. I feel like the OST itself for Naruto is a lot more vast. Like, there's a lot more different music, but I feel like Bleach's soundtrack may slightly be better in terms of intros and outros, openings and endings, whatever you want to call it. Because just thinking off the top of my head, opening one, top tier. I'm talking about for Bleach. Opening one is top tier. Opening two, D Techno Life, is probably my favorite one in the show. Opening 6, Alones, that's a good one. That's a really good one. I think Aqua Times Velonica, that's a good one. I think opening 3, like, every Bleach intro is like good for the most part, maybe except like 2 or something. Like, there's a couple Naruto ones that I really don't like, but I feel like Naruto has a couple more than Bleach. But like Divers, I don't really like that much. Totsugeki Rock is cool, but I'm not really a fan of that one either. I would have to look it up, but I just know that Bleach never really disappointed me with the openings. There were a couple Naruto openings that were skippables. Now, there are more Naruto openings, as I just said, so obviously that's gonna be a little different in terms of ratios. But in terms of outros, this is where Bleach is just gonna take it. I don't care, because Naruto, I've skipped many of the outros, right? Bleach outros sound like openings. Like, they're that good. I don't even know the names of them. I really don't. I think Hanabi is one. Hanabi's a really good one. There's one where I don't even know the names, but I just know that from at least my music taste, I like the Bleach outros a lot more. And I would say I could like Bleach and Naruto intros somewhat on a similar scale, because I know Bleach has a little bit less than Naruto. And in terms of the OST, as I said, I feel like Naruto has a lot more well-known, notable, like, songs that happened during the show itself. But yeah, Naruto. I would have to look at. Give me a sec. Let me look up some Bleach OSTs really quick, because I don't really know. Yeah, so I just looked up the Bleach soundtrack, and I completely forgot about the Espada theme. First of all, the whole Spanish stuff that they had, or whatever, the whole like Spanish type of music that they had going on for Hueco Mundo. There were like 7 different OSTs that sounded top tier, right? Completely forgot about those. But I was diving through some of them, and I was like, it's a lot more of my type of music. You know, there's some hip hop elements thrown in there, and then there's some very like just serious tone music. Naruto is more upbeat for the most. I know Naruto has like the darker type of music, like Orochimaru's theme. That was a scary theme when I was a kid. I was like, wow, this is a scary music for this is some scary music for a scary man. And like, Naruto has some darker OSTs, but Bleach really like diversifies it. You know what I'm saying? Naruto typically stays in the same realm in terms of like the ninja type of music for the show. Like, Naruto music always sounds like Naruto music. Bleach music sounds like it could be played at a party sometimes. You know, there are different songs that Bleach integrates into its show, and I feel like it makes it a lot more diverse. While Naruto's is a lot more well known than Bleach, I feel like Bleach to me is better in terms of its music. Just slightly though, just very, very slightly to Naruto. As I said, Naruto has a lot more well-known intros and OSTs and all that stuff, but I feel like Bleach, after going back just now looking at a couple of them from Bleach and Naruto, I just feel like for me, Bleach has a better playlist. And I think I kind of hit everything I wanted to hit on. And if I didn't, I mean, I can just, I don't even know. But for the most part, that's really my opinion when it comes to Bleach and Naruto. Which one do I think is better though? I'm gonna keep it real. And I know in my top 10 list, right? I know I have Naruto higher than Bleach. Reason being because Naruto has had more impact on my life, right? So I'm gonna say that Naruto, I'm gonna give Naruto the edge right now, solely due to the fact that Naruto, obviously nostalgic reasons, has more impact on me overall. And it is complete. That's my problem with Bleach. It is incomplete. So I can't bring myself to say it is better than Naruto when the story is incomplete in the anime. I'm not a manga reader, so I don't even know what happens. I can't bring myself to say that Bleach is better in in terms of what I like than Naruto because it is just incomplete. That's such a big thing for me. You know what I'm saying? It is such a big thing for me. Like Hunter x Hunter, for example, first week I watched it, I was like, this is the best anime of all time. But then after that little rush of like dopamine that it was giving me, I had to like simmer down and realize it wasn't finished. Probably not gonna be finished for a long time, if ever. And there was just no way I could put it on top because there was so much more to bring. But I wasn't getting that because I was saying it's the best off of like what it's given me and its potential that it could possibly hit. But if I don't see that potential, then I'm not gonna be able to actually assess if it's that good or not. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like if Bleach's Thousand Year Blood War arc is top tier and just as good as the best arc currently in the show, which I would have to think because the main canon arcs are all very, very close to each other in terms of like where I would rate them for Bleach. If it is on that tier, then I would definitely, honestly say Bleach is better than Naruto, in my opinion, right? A lot of people don't like Bleach. So I'm a big Bleach fan. And if it's on that level, Thousand Year Blood War arc, if it's on that level, I would personally say that it is better than Naruto. But I'm gonna have to wait and see. And especially if after that arc Kubo decides to drop some new content for it, like with that arc that he teased, and then if that gets animated too, which I'm this is a stretch right now. I'm stretching. I'm stretching far right now. But if that actually happens, then we're gonna be talking a whole different story. Bleach will be my top three for sure. If that is the case, Thousand Year Blood War arc is good. A new arc is made. It's good and animated. Bleach is gonna be not top three. I'm pushing it top five for me. As of right now, I'm gonna take Naruto ever so slightly though, ever so slightly. But Bleach definitely has potential for me to overcome Naruto within the next year or two, depending on when this anime decides to drop and when the extra content decides to drop. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But let me know some different shows and even characters. Like I did a Luffy versus Deku video a while back, just giving my opinion on who I thought would win. But like not some outlandish type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like give me some shows or characters that are always like talked about and debated upon. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll just give my opinion because again, I don't really like messing with like Google and facts and stuff because that's just too much. You know, that's a little too much for me. So I just like to give my opinion because at the end of the day, 80% of the stuff on the internet is opinion anyway. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's it. Naruto versus Bleach. Taking Naruto very, very, very slightly over Bleach. But that's really it.